Her voice cracked across the marble-tiled room like a whip. "Servants eat separately," she said without turning, loud enough for everyone to hear. Cold enough to make the silence stick to the walls. I stood by the kitchen island, knife in hand, slicing strawberries. Not for myself, for them. My wife, her mother, their friends draped in luxury and polite cruelty. None of them knew. Not who I really was. Not what I owned. Not the truth. To them, I was just the quiet husband who played with numbers, who didn't quite fit in with her curated world. And I wore that mask well. Maybe too well. Then the door creaked open, and her business partner stepped in. He looked around, confused, before his voice cracked the room open like thunder. "Why is the man who owns half of Manhattan standing in the kitchen?" Everything stopped. Finally, I looked up. I had met Evelyn 8 years earlier, one golden summer. She laughed like champagne, wore ambition like perfume. I fell hard. I was already wealthy, but quiet about it. She made you want to give her everything just to watch her shine. And I did. I brought her into my world, taught her real estate, finance, the power of restructuring and charm. She learned fast. Brilliant. Dangerous. We married on a cliff in Amalfi. Her mother cried like it was a funeral. I should have listened. The first sign was small. A whisper at a dinner party. "Evelyn's the visionary. She built this whole thing." I stood 5 feet away. She didn't correct them. The second came months later, during an investor call. She pitched a new project, my project. The block I bought, funded, titled in my name. We felt like theft. Then last spring, I found the prenup. Or rather, the altered version of it. Hidden in a folder marked tax amendments. Her mother's name was there, advisor, trustee. Their signatures were dated and notarized. Mine wasn't. They weren't planning to leave me. They were planning to erase me. I didn't rage. I didn't explode. I started cooking. Strawberries. Toast. Coffee. Always in the kitchen. Always quiet. Listening. She laughed once and said I looked good in soft lighting. Said I was domestic now. She had no idea I was watching, studying. I found her passwords, memorized her planner. Every page. 3 months later I knew it all. Cayman accounts, stock moves, a hidden LLC they planned to shift assets into before filing. A press strategy. A villain narrative. I didn't panic. I built. First, I created a mirror trust, legally separate but structured to shelter everything we owned. Every deed rerouted. Every joint property now mine. Second, I bought out her business partner. Quietly through shell companies. Let him believe he was working with a fund in Dubai. Third, I waited. They filed on a Monday. Served me with a sleek envelope sealed in wax. Ruthless. Stylish. That Friday, I cooked dinner at our penthouse. Her mother requested a private chef. I volunteered. I wore an apron. Washed my hands. Sliced strawberries. Then he walked in, the man she thought was her ally. Now my partner. He looked at me. Then at her. Then at her mother. "Why is the man who owns half of Manhattan standing in the kitchen?" She dropped her fork. I wiped my hands and began to speak. Calm. Precise. Truth, in carefully measured doses. I explained the trust. The asset transfers. The firm buyouts. I explained how the block they planned to turn into luxury townhomes was now mine, bought outright. How the company she claimed as hers was mine. How the story she was about to sell, the betrayal narrative, was already dead. Her mother tried to interrupt. I handed her the folder she once hid. She looked down and saw her own signature staring back. Evelyn didn't cry. Didn't scream. She just looked at me like she was finally seeing the man she married. "I underestimated you," she said. I nodded. She stood, picked up her wine glass. "What do you want?" she asked, voice calm, almost impressed. "Nothing," I said. "I already took it." I didn't ruin her publicly. Didn't freeze her accounts. I left her the shell, the branding, the leased office, the Instagram following. But the land? The wealth? The power? Mine. She moved out 2 weeks later. Her mother left town soon after. Now when I walk that block, my block, I do it without a sound. No suits. No headlines. Sometimes I sit in the cafe that replaced their showroom. I order coffee. I tip well. Sometimes, I see her reflection across the street. She never comes in. She doesn't need to. She knows. Betrayal doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, smiles, wears silk, and hands you the knife. But revenge? Revenge is quiet, deliberate, and best served with strawberries.